Okay, welcome to Microservices winter term 21-22. It's the 8th or the 9th. It should be lecture number 9. 8, it's 8. Okay. And today is a very important day because we are going to connect the warehouse backend and the shop backend. So there are those two shop backends that are going to exchange messages in between of those. And there is a lot of more design issues going up with this. And we have been in this scenario where a new pallet has been stored in the warehouse. And now the warehouse is going to tell the shop that there are red shoes, about 10 of those. And yeah, we were preparing that last week already by actually having a test that we're sending product stored events to our shop in order to make our shop ready for this thing. And going on in, actually have prepared that, come on. And that should be this one. Oh my God, this is quite different to what I see at home. And here we are. Need to do it this a little bit smaller just to have it in a reasonable screen size. And I get rid of these. Yeah. Okay, like that. So we have had started to create a shop backend test, which actually visits the 3100 where our shop should be running, but it's actually not there. So what's this here? Well, actually, I have prepared a lot of this yesterday, and I'm now restarting everything so that you can actually see this. So I do an npm, I'm in the micro test environment, yeah, and I do an npm start to run the Cyprus test overview. This will take a minute. So while this starts, what this is going to do is it just checks that the shop backend is running. Then it does a reset on that one. Did we have that? Yeah, I think so. Last week, did we have that reset? Yeah, some of you guys are nodding. So yeah, hopefully it's working there. And next we did a post. And here it comes with a product stored event for black socks, 1104, and we tell him it's a new product with this amount of things in it. And actually, we were using a different block ID. I'm not pretty sure about that, and I've changed this for some reasons I'm going to tell you soon. I think we were using the palette ID here, and I'm not sure about that. And just open the test. So a lot of standard tests, and there's a shop backend test. And yeah, it's okay, have a new version. And then that one starts and it says, oh no, it's not working. So it says nothing is working because we did not yet start the backend. So let's do that. So we go for our environment and we tell this guy here where we started the Cyprus to have split the screen and have a different terminal, go for the micro shop, yeah, go for the micro shop, and therefore the micro shop backend, do an npm start. And we will have about 4 of those things or 5 of those things at the end of this lecture. Just keep in mind that on the very left, there is the Cyprus running, and on the very right, the shop is running, and we will have the warehouse in between. So the The warehouse is more to the left, the shop is more to the right. And let's try another run now, and that one should do the job. Yeah, here we are. And everything works. So we visit the shop backend, we reset the shop, we post a product stored event for 10 socks, we repeat the posting and nothing changes. We send an update with now 18 stocks or with another 18 stocks. We will have to discuss this. Actually, I have changed the setup of my Cyprus a little bit to have this window in. It comes up with 1000 by 600 in original. I've changed this to 400 by 300 in order to, well, then you get a bigger font or a bigger description of that one. And you do so, so it's easy, it's really handy to have this, and you do so by going for cypress.json, which is in my repository in microtests, and then there directly is a cypress.json file here in microtests. Close this one, close this one. There is a cypress.json file. It's probably already there, otherwise you need to generate it. And there you can say the viewport height shall be 300 and the width shall be 400. And then this window becomes smaller and the content becomes larger, and that's very convenient. Okay, we do have that one. The shop backend, here we are. And sorry for all these windows, and I actually go down here a little bit, but I'm not getting rid of this because we do. So then we learned last week already that if you send the same message twice, it should be, well, consumed only once. So, and we do test that. So we sent another product stored Black Socks 1104, and well, here it was 22. I just keep it with 10 for some reason, and it should be still 10 here, and that one was actually working. To make this working, we were using within the, well, app controller, and I split this one. This is Microshop app controller. And we have a post event here, and we are sending that to event. Yes, we do. Come on. You see, it's going to 3100 event. So it's this operation that is going called due to this annotation here, which will then do an app service handle event. And the app service handle event says, okay, what event is this exactly? And now it knows about product stored. This is what we were starting with last week. And I already have an add offer and a place order event and an order picked event, which we are going to discuss next week. And by adding these events, I was stumbling on a number of design issues, which were actually going to explain a little bit or motivate the changes I'm going to do today for more handling. So finally, so it's a product stored event. You see, so we go for product stored. I have a console log here for debugging purposes. And so we go for handle product stored. And it says, okay, do this store event. And yeah, we do that. And if this is actually, so with this store event command, we'll actually, put this event into our event store. We have a bunch of collections in our shop backend. One was the list of events that we have consumed or received or executed. And we use this event store, first of all, for deduplication. For if you receive the event twice, we just handle it once. And this is done by this handling with having a placeholder and then actually find an update thing that we were discussing last week. Actually, I have slightly modified this store event operation by actually copying the event values to a new event object. So I copy text type, event type, and payload. And the reason for that is that when the warehouse sends a product stored event to the shop, the warehouse will actually fetch this event from its event store. So the warehouse will get another event store, and then it will actually get, and in this event store of the warehouse event will have an ID and a version number, which is internal to Mongo. And it's a different Mongo than the shop is running. And therefore, if you just fetch the event from the warehouse and then try to apply it to the shop database says, no, this is not my ID. I'm not going to store this guy. So you actually need to get rid of ID and version number. And I do this by, copying the things that are having a meaning for me into a new JSON object, and then I store that one and not the original. So for today, it would still work until now, but as soon as we really do the connection, this is going to fail, and therefore you actually need to do this change too. So take the event that is passed as a parameter and create a new event and do a find one and update by searching for this event that you are going to change or to overwrite, and then put this data here. So there was this word, overwriting. And this is a pretty tricky thing. And so in our test, the next thing that we were doing is sending a new Black Sox event, 1107, which is a new one. And then we say the amount is now 18, or the amount for this product stored event is 18. And so now this is actually a design change that I did in comparison to last week. And the point is, if you use this event store for deduplication, it's really, really hard to get rid of events that you do no longer need. And if we are sending product stored events for, here's a new palette with some 10 events and 10 boxes, and there's a palette again for Black Sox with now 8 boxes. And I send these, this is a new amount of things, events to my builder service, to my shop. And the shop actually says, okay, here's 10, here's 8, here's another 10, here's another 8, here's another something. The shop actually needs to sum up these events in order to know how many warehouse stocks we have in our warehouse. And this is very close to what you do if you have a banking account. Who of you has a banking account? Yeah, some of you. If you have a banking account and then you do some booking. So you say, here's a new income for this week or month. And here is the payment of my rent. And here is some money withdraw on a teller machine or something like that. And so you do all these booking of your expenses and your income. And actually now you want to know, how much money do I have on my account today? What you actually need is to take the money that you have had at the start of the day and then all the bookings you did, and then you sum up and then you get a new saldo or total for your account. That's what you do. And as soon as you did this summing up and said, so currently and this evening my total is this amount of money, it's now $42. And then you must never ever change one of the bookings that are before that you have done during the day. Actually, getting rid of an old booking is very hard, or changing an old booking is very hard. So if you say, oh yeah, there was this very first pallet, there were 10 boxes on it, and then you go back to this pallet and say, oh my God, 2 of those boxes are broken, so it's actually only 8, it's not 10. And therefore, you would like to send an update or something like that. And this is like, oh yeah, I have paid my rent and actually I did it wrong. And so what you actually do is you do a cancellation of the old booking, which is actually a new booking, which will be a new line in your ledger, in your book for this account. And then you actually say, oh yeah, now the real booking is this one. So the real point is that the shop doesn't care on how many boxes are on pallet 1, how many boxes are on pallet 2. The shop is not interested in that. But the shop would like to know the total amount. And if I actually send the total amount, then if I have a new pallet at 10 o'clock in the morning, I send him, this is my current total. Then there is another pallet, and I tell them, this is my current total. And then it's the second time the shop can actually forget about the first message. So if there is a message at 12 o'clock, we have 42 boxes of socks in our store, then the message that at 10 o'clock we have had some 10 boxes is no longer of interest, and I actually can remove it from my event store. So what we are actually trying to do is to keep the number of events in our event store reasonably small. And it's really hard for the shop to get rid of, here is a new pallet message, because, well, the shop does not know when is that pallet content going to change, because an order is going to be picked from that pallet. And so the shop would have to keep this number of pallets forever, because it might change later on a recount. And at the end, I was, going through the more scenarios where I were picking elements from pallets and delivering goods to customers, and to keep up with the current number of socks in our stock, or t-shirts or red shoes, it became incredibly hard with these changing events that we have had. And so I decided to do a redesign, and instead of saying, here is this new amount, here's this new pallet with some 10 boxes, I sent messages which say, oh, the new total amount is 18. So I do not send, here are 10 and here are 8, but I said, at 11 o'clock I do have 10, and at 12 o'clock I do have 18 socks in my, or t-shirts in my, or shoes in my my stock. So the shop backend does it with socks. The warehouse is dealing with shoes, just to keep these things separated from each other. And so what I actually do here now is I send, oh yeah, at 11:07 there was, so at 11:04 we have had 10 boxes. At 11:07 a new pallet has been stored, and now we have 18 socks. And if I change the semantics of this thing here, I can actually do a good, where's this handle product stored? I can say, okay, this is actually a new event. So I can actually handle it. And then I do a store product thing where I actually say, so currently we do have this amount of black socks in our store, because I wanted this in my data. And therefore, I use an operation compute new product amount, which is actually a little bit complicated after all, and we are actually not going to go into all the parts of this today, so I just do the last store event by build event model, find one, block ID, product name. And I know that I have for each product name only one product stored event, and actually I'm using for this one. So I'm looking for the last event where the block ID is black socks, and this is what I'm using here. And so I will get this last product stored event. I could have a more elaborate condition here, but that is just sufficient. And I ask that event for, okay, hey, your payload, your amount, oh, it's 18. That is the last amount that I do have. And I will do some little more things later here if I have already an order that has received, the shop has already received an order. Then I count the orders and I will subtract the number of orders for black socks from the amount that has been stored. And so the computation is a little bit more different, and we go into these details next week. So currently it's just look up the last product stored event and give me the amount. And this is what we do here. And then I actually say, okay, for this in the products model, that is where we actually store all the real products. So we do a find one and update and put the new amount in there. Okay, so this is actually a slight facilitation compared to the earlier event, and I had to, there's this product stored. Handle place, that's the wrong one. Handle offered, handle product stored. Sorry, I was it's still doing a compute new product amount. It creates a product patch, which says this is the product we are dealing with, this is the new amount we have of that project, amount time, and then I do a store product. Okay, and the store product, and this is still old code, it was using this increment to, it said, oh yeah, this is a new palette, no, and this has changed by now. So we get rid of this code, and you need to do this change in your solution, please. So go for a store product, get rid of this very complicated thing with this dollar increment advice that is actually summing up all the small chunks of products we got, because we have changed the thematics. We just can put in the new product data event, which contains the new total amount that we have been computing in front. So that one is becoming much easier now, and so we can do that easily. I think I'm still doing a poor job in explaining this, because there is a lot of design issues. We will discuss these design issues later on, and I'm sorry for that. And I don't have power. My power is off, damn it. We should be able to do it today, and I will just switch down my energy consumption, so that should do the job. Okay. Long story short, what we do today is we change the semantic of these product stored events to give us the sum of available product boxes, and therefore things become a little bit easier, simpler on this store product thing. Actually, we could get rid of the store product operation because this has become that simple that we could do it directly. Okay, that's the point. And this will actually help us that we do not need to keep track of old, I have a palette events, and it's semantically so much easier, and therefore we do that. Okay, then this all works, and actually I was doing a little bit more testing of this whole scenario because I felt that the original scheme that I was using, where product stored event were just the additional amount of boxes, that were violating my commutativity laws that I was saying. I said this event store should have the event in there should be commutative. And actually, it is a good idea to do a test where once you are having a sequence of events sent to your backend, and you come to a certain state which says, I have, that one has changed. This one still says 28. No, it should be 18. Because we changed the semantics here. We do no longer this dollar increment, but we do just store the total amount. So that one has changed. And yeah, we rerun the test. So now it's fine. So it's now 18, what we have. So what we would like to do now, or should always be able, and it's a good idea to test it, is, just send all the events in reverse order. So currently we have sent, what did we send actually? Oh yeah, we have sent 2 times product stored. The product stored event of 1104, that one is ignored, and then the of 1107. And so now we would be able to test whether our deduplication mechanism is really working, and this sum up of the events and store only the last one is really working. And therefore, we will actually do these things. Come on, let's Control K and U, uncomment these things here. And sorry, this is very, very long. It's already running, great. Let me have, so what I do is, I do a database reset. The shop backend is resetted, so it's empty at all. And then I send the 1107 event with 18, and look that the amount is still 18. And then I send the 1104 event in reverse order. So, and say, oh yeah, at 1104 it was 10. And because our store event here does this, our time is less than the new time, so the old time is less than the new time. When I have already the 07 event, and then I do send the 04 event, the 04 event is going to be ignored. So we do not need this old event any longer because we have the new sum already. And so we just ignore it. And so the amount is still 18, although we just have sent an event that says it is 10. And this is just because the time stamp here tells our store which one is the most recent or the latest of these events, and only keeps the latest events. And so when a new event comes, a later event comes, the earlier events are removed from our event store, they are overwritten, and so our event store size keeps small. And actually it's pretty much all about removing old events that you do no longer need from the event store that we try to attack. And by the way, this is a tricky design issue. So removing things from your database is a really tricky thing when I'm allowed to do that. And it's especially tricky if you do have this event store. And last year when I was giving this lecture, I actually had no idea how to get rid of old events. And so this is a major step forward this year compared to last year. And so what you learn now is much more sophisticated than what we did last year, just to give you an idea that this is an important point. And I was telling you a lot of that this is important by now, and so we can actually get rid of it for now. Okay, and here now comes more things that are adding offers to our warehouse backend. So there's more to come in this test, a lot more, to deal with some tricky design issues on those things. However, we will discuss this functionality of our shop backend in the next week or probably after Christmas. We do have one more lecture before Christmas. Am I right, Max? Next week, Friday is 24th. Okay, this is the last lecture before Christmas. Great, for sure. So we will not have a lecture on Christmas Eve. No. I will be with my family. Okay, so this is the last lecture before Christmas. Oh my God, panic. So that's great, because we will actually now do this connection of the two backends. And that's really good thing to have this done before Christmas, and then we can actually have a good Christmas and celebrate ourselves, or whatever we celebrate, or be happy with what we have achieved this year. Oh, that's good. So I stop with the shop backend test, and I switch back to the warehouse test, warehouse front end. And that guy says, oh my God, we do not have a warehouse running. So currently we have had the shop test and the shop backend running, but we do not have a warehouse running yet. So we need to start the warehouse. And we still have almost an hour, some 50 minutes left. That's cool. We are going to make it. So we go for the warehouse test. And so now we will have to start a lot more of those services. And so this is going to become really, really, really small. So we go for CD micro warehouse. Yeah, CD micro warehouse front end. Oh my God, I can't see a thing. I just put this as a little bit smaller. And then I do an npm start. That should start the front end. While this is starting, I'll make it just another one. Yeah, why not? CD micro warehouse, CD micro warehouse backend, npm start. I love it. So this is confusing. I'm sorry for that. I can't do anything about it. So what we do have is Cyprus, the shop front end, and gone. So this is Cyprus. This is the warehouse front end. This is the warehouse back end, and this is the shop. So the test to the left, in the middle there's the warehouse, to the right is the shop. And so the shop where front end is here. We can actually do some booking here. However, I'm not using this because I'm running this in my test. And if I revisit my test and let it run now, I probably did also do this config.json thing. You needed to do it on both of those. Cyprus.json thing. The Cyprus, I have no idea. What I showed you to reduce the size of this screen to get it a little bit more, have more space on your screen, because we will actually need to look in the debugger sometimes, and then you can't see anything anymore. And therefore, it's great to have it a little bit larger. Actually, we can do one more here. Oh yeah, I love that one. Okay. This one does visit the warehouse front end, click on store tasks, click on the add pallet button, add the pallet, subscribe the shop as listener to the warehouse. That one is new. And I think that's the important thing we have to look onto today. I put that one here. I probably close these here because, no, we don't need that anymore. This was, the windows I was closing were about the shop backend, and so we don't deal with that today or for now, and we go here. So the warehouse test. Whether the warehouse front end. Click on store tasks. Click on the add pallet button. Add pallets. This was actually, filling the form. Barcode input and these kinds of stuff. Type clicking, checking whether the resulting screen contains a line with Cyprus 01 as an ID, and that is about 6 red shoes in the front row. So now this one is the new one. Subscribe the shop as listener to the warehouse. So what we do is we send a post request to localhost 3000 subscribe. This is a new one. We did not yet have it last year, so you need to implement this this week. So it has not been there last week. You implement it this week. And we send a subscriber URL. So what we actually want to, so 3000 is our warehouse. And the shop tells the warehouse, oh, I'm here, I'm living, and please, if you want to send me an event, send it to 3100 event. That's the content of this message. And actually, the warehouse might start up very early in the morning at 9 o'clock or something like that, or 10 o'clock, come on. And the shop might open some time later, some hour later or something like that, because there was still maintenance going on or whatever. So the warehouse may have already booked a bunch of pallets before the shop starts the first time or starts into the day. And therefore, when I subscribe as a shop to the warehouse, and the shop subscribes to the warehouse, it is asking at the same time, oh, here I am again, please send the events to this address, and hey, what has happened since? What has happened in the morning before I was here? So the last message I know about was yesterday in the evening at 6 o'clock, and so what has happened in between? And so what the request is going to tell you when you subscribe is all the things that you have, missed during the time you were down. That's the idea here. And so let's have a look at this subscribe operation of our warehouse. So it's Control P, the warehouse, the app controller, the app controller of the warehouse. Here we are. This is the app controller of the warehouse. We can ask a query for all kinds of things with a certain tag. We can post a command from the user interface. Here's some new data stored, new palette. This was done here. And we will actually revisit that one too. And here, this one is actually new code that we are adding today. And it says, okay, when there's a post subscribe message, it's received if you go for 3000/subscribe. And that one gets a subscription as a parameter. And the subscription, do I want that? Yeah, I do against a split screen here because we will need to have a look at the test all the time in order to see what is going to be sent. So subscription is this thing. This is what we are sending to the backend. And I actually have created a type for this, which is subscription. And this one is in micro warehouse source modules builder subscription TS. And it is very simple. It just says, yeah, I have a subscriber URL until last event time. Why did I do that? For consistency reasons. That I have an idea what the type of this is. Okay. You could use any here, but no, it's not a good idea. Have a type for this explicitly. Okay. There's some debug that we do not need now, and then there is the await. This app service handles subscription. So this is in the controller. We just do the decoding of the URL, and then we go for the service. And the service says, yeah, there might be different things, but actually handle subscription can be forwarded to the model builder service directly. And the model builder service, let's have a look. So this is all within the warehouse. I'm confused by this too. And let's have a look. Is this going? Yeah, it fits in one screen. Great. So what it does is the builder service maintains a list of subscriber URLs. Let's have a look. Subscriber URLs is just a list of strings. Very simple one. And it's just an attribute, a property of a builder service object. So it's in main memory. It's not in the database. So why? Yeah, because it's really a runtime state. So when the warehouse starts up, it does not yet have any subscriptions. Or it's not sure about, hey, so I'm going to talk to the shop, but is the shop living? I have no idea. And therefore, it actually waits until the shop does an explicit subscribe to that. So you first start the warehouse, and the warehouse says, there's no one listening to me. And then there comes a subscribe from the shop. And then he says, okay, yeah, from now on, I will tell everything that is new to the shop. And that is done via these subscriber URLs. In our scenario, there is just one shop and one warehouse, one shop. This might change later, or if this becomes bigger, there might be multiple warehouses on different locations, which each run their own services. And there might be a dashboard. That is something that you use to show current sales numbers to your boss. And that might be a third service that we do not yet have that subscribes to you, the warehouse, in addition to the shop. And therefore, it's a good idea to be prepared for multiple subscribers here. Okay? So, I skipped the on module init, do I? No, that's the old one that we had. Yeah. Okay, then we're just testing data. And we go for... let's just go back. Here we are, handle subscription. We are still in the builder service. So we check. This is the new subscription. The subscription is an object of the subscriber URL and last event time. So what it does, it goes for the subscriber URL. And if this one is a new one, so our current list of URLs does not include, here's the the new URL, then I just add it. So this just avoids that when I do multiple subscribes, then I have the same URL multiple times in my list, and then I'm sending the event multiple times. That's something I wanted to avoid. Yeah, it's not that critical, but it helps while debugging because things become more and more confusing otherwise. Okay, and then I actually said, okay, there's a new subscriber, or there is a subscription. This guy wants to know what had happened since the last time he was listening to me, or he got a receive from me, or she. It wants to know when was the last time that it has received an event from me, or what has happened meanwhile. So I go for my event model and look for product stored events, because these are the events I'm sending out, or the other things are internal to myself, and says oh, if the time of that thing is greater than subscription last event time, then it is an event that I should send back. And I get an event list from my database, and I just return this event list, and do not forget the await, otherwise you just get a price. That's an easy one. Okay, cool. And here I use in my test last event time something like 0. An empty string would have done the job too, because I just said, oh, everything from the very beginning, just for testing purposes. Okay, cool. So something like 11 o'clock would have done the job too, because we are sending product stored event 11:04 and 11:07. So I would have got the last one. And actually, because we are asking the events store, there should be not too many of these events. Well, actually, product stored events, we have that at the shop backend, but we do not yet have it at the warehouse. So where do these events come from? Yeah, let's put this one here. Oh, we are good in time. Just to complete, so the test step expects that it gets an event list back that has a length which is greater than 0. So we expect that there is a product stored event in our warehouse, and we need to address where this is coming from. And therefore we go back to the app controller and go for the post command. Post command is going to be triggered when we do this click on the add palette button in our user interface. Come on. Here's the user interface. If you're here, fill this form, click this button, a new palette is going to start, or a command is sent to our backend. And this is still the warehouse. And we will actually trigger this post command here. The post command will do a handle command. And the handle command will say, oh, if it's a store palette, I go for store palette. And I just put this one a little bit here again. And put this one a little bit down. And put this one, won't fit into one screen. That's bad. I'm sorry. Store palette. This is old code, pretty much. Well, actually, this line of code is new because the amount that you are getting in the command from the front end is actually a string, and you have to turn it into a number we are going to compute to sum up all the amounts. And therefore, we need it as a number. And you can do it this way. There are multiple ways how to achieve that, and this one worked for me first. So we are getting in a command from our user interface. We turn it into an event, and this is a palette stored event because the warehouse really needs to store pallets as long as there are boxes on them. And we can only get rid of a pallet when the amount of boxes on that pallet has come down to 0. And therefore, we actually need to store them for quite some time. Event type and the payload is actually the pallet thing that has been sent to us in the command. And I have no idea where the pallet type is. And because that is old, I'm not going to. Do we have a pallet type? I have no idea. We will see it. So we try to store this new pallet stored. It's still a pallet stored event. We're still dealing with pallets. And when that works, we do a compute amount. We say, okay, I need to send a product stored event to my listeners, to the shop. And I actually do this by storing this product stored event in my event store. This is done here. And therefore, if this pallet event is actually new, I'm going to tell, I have a new event, a product stored event with a block ID, which is the product we are dealing with. It has the same time as this palette stored event because that's good enough for me. I do not have tags. I should have, but I'm not sure why I should have. I have no idea which ones. I have a payload, which is product, or product name would have been better. And the total amount of socks or jeans or whatever we just have. And this total amount is computed by compute amount, which is a new method too. And this compute amount says build event model. So this is our event store. Find all events of type palette stored, where the payload.product, you need to put this into single quotes, otherwise it doesn't accept the dot in here. And the payload product is the product attribute of the payload is the product name. Palette stored events with black socks or whatever, and do an exec. Don't forget the await. You will get a list of those. And these are events. And so what I then do is a loop through all these events and have a sum and say sum becomes sum plus one of the entries of the event list payload.amount. So just do a list, loop through all the palettes and sum up the amount. And that's currently the thing that we need. Later on, we will have pickings where we are actually taking boxes from palettes. And it depends on whether we are changing the amount on the palettes directly or not, whether we will need to count picked orders in addition to to sum up all the amounts, because those are already removed. Perhaps this is already contained in the amounts, but we will implement this later, so it's not yet here. So currently the amount is just the sum of all the palettes with that product. And go back. Here we are. So you recall that the warehouse only contains the event store. In the warehouse, we do not have an extra other collections with other models. We don't have it only for the shop, for some reasons. Or it was easier to start with the warehouse this way. We will discuss this later on. Perhaps we will actually have more collections on the warehouse too. Currently, we just have the event store. So we have created a product stored event with the current amount of goods of that type, and we store the new event in our event store, and then we do this publish thing. Publish. So what does this publish thing do? And the publish thing actually, it fits in the one screen. Great. Barely. Come on. Yeah, here we are. It does some console log. I might get rid of that one soon, but for now it's good. And so we are now doing a loop through all the subscriber URLs. And for each of the subscriber URLs, we do a HTTP service post. Did we do that last week? We did this in Cyprus, but we didn't do it in Nest. So here we are in Nest. I'm not sure we need an HTTP service. HTTP service has been injected into our constructor, and we actually need to import it from Nest.js. And actually you have an HTTP service in Nest.js common, and that one is deprecated, and the deprecation message says, oh, please have it in use Nest.js Axios. So what you need to do is an npm install this thing here. And I actually did that, and I do not want to restart that service by now. And therefore I'm not going to show you this again. I hopefully did that into our I put it in a comment here. Do an npm install --save. I'm not sure. No. This thing here. Npm install there --save or something like that. Put that in your shell in order to have it available. And then you can actually use this HTTP service. And of course, in addition, you need to go for the, where are we? This is the builder service. So you need to go for the builder module. Builder module TF in the warehouse backend, builder module, here we are, and have an HTTP module, which you also get from Nest.js Axios, and you put that into the list of imports, and the HTTP module provides an HTTP service, and therefore you can put that here into your constructor, and it is injected for you, and Sebastian loves it. And oh my god. And here we are. Publish. So what we can do is, you can ask this .http service, do a post to this subscriber URL, and send this new event, which is the product stored event, to that one. And then you need to, well, do either an await or a subscribe. And I think this Axios thing is really, if you do ask for a promise, it says no, this is deprecated. They have their own mechanism to deal with parallel I/O, and therefore what you do is in subscribe. However, you use in subscribe with only a single argument, and I didn't manage to do that. When I was preparing that, I had no time to actually. It is more complicated these days. When I was learning this, you are passing two parameters or just one, a response function, a callback function for, yeah, it worked, this is a response, or another callback function for, no, it didn't work. And this is handled to the subscribe operation. So this post operation is going to be executed in parallel or asynchronously. The Nest.js may do something else. And then when it comes back, it calls either the response function or the error function that you passed within the subscribe. And you can pass it in a different way. Get rid of this deprecation if you are able to do in your own web. It would be great. Look up the documentation. I will try to do it during the week myself. Okay. There is a console log for debugging purposes, and basically it says, so the point is this may fail. And if it fails, obviously this URL is not working. So the receiving service is not running. It's down for some reason. It's not yet started. I have no idea. Or it has broken. It has become dead for some reasons. And in order to not send events to a service who's not living any longer, because you are waiting very long for timeout, I said, I need to get, if there is an error, get rid of the URL that is no longer working. So, however, I'm in a loop through a list of events, and I'm going to remove some elements of this list. And that's a bad idea. While you are looping through something, removing elements from that list. Don't do that. So what I actually do, I take the subscriber URLs and store it in a temporary variable old URLs. And then I set subscriber URLs to the empty list. And then if if the post thing is able to deliver the event, I get the response function, and the response function just says, oh, cool, that did work. So this URL is still good, and I push it into the list of subscriber URLs. And so after the loop, the subscriber URL contains all the strings that are still working. And if there is an error, I do not do something here, and I just forget about that URL. So if you are shutting down your shop, the warehouse tries to send the event. It says, oh no, 3100 is no longer responding, just get rid of it. You can't book any longer. And if you start up your shop sometime later, it will again subscribe to your warehouse. And then in the subscription, it will get all the event it has missed as a result of the subscription. And that's the scheme that we are using. Yeah, cool. That should do the job. Okay, fine. There must be a more elegant way to do this, but it worked for me, and I knew what was going on here, and then this was playing safe, and so this is how I solved this thing. If you can come up with something that is more smart than this solution, I'm fine with that one too. Okay, so let's go back to, did I have it? So we now know how product stored events are coming into our event list. We know how publishing a new event to already subscribed listeners is working. And we actually have this handle subscription thing here, which says, yeah, when there is a subscription of a guy who is not listening for some time, please send all the events that has been added to our event store in the meantime. And this is achieved in this way. Hey, that works. Oh, everything works great. Yeah, that should do the job. Let's get, yeah, okay. So we can go back to our test and have a look at that one. It's subscribe the shop as a listener. So we just test, does the subscription mechanism work actually? And this one tells them, oh yeah, put it there. Our last event time is 0. So it should actually, and before that we were actually booking a pallet. So there should be a product stored event in our store, and that should have a time, something like current time actually. The command hacks the time, which is actually the time when the test is executed, 2021, the full time flag. And we'll actually see it soon. And therefore it actually should have a new product stored event, and that one is should be received when I do this subscription. And yeah, this is what checked here, and actually it seems to work. And actually I do a console log here, and we actually should be able to see that. Let's just rerun it. Subscribe the shop as listener in the warehouse. And that should actually have an expected one to be above 0. That is the test. So there was in this list were actually 1, but I would like to see the list, and therefore I go for F12, which is starting up the debugger. And here we see actually the message. Subscribe at warehouse response is, and I can actually enlarge this. Oh, so cool. And here we go. So I did a console log in the test, and that is obviously sent to the console of the test browser, and therefore you find it here. And you start the debugger of your test browser with F12 or something like that. Can you actually do it something here? I have no idea. No, it's F12. Function key 12. And that opens this debugger. You go for console, and there you find subscribe at warehouse response is, and there's a square bracket, and that one says, I have one event here, and this is red shoes, and it's 18. The amount is 18. And here you see actually there's this underscore ID, which is the ID which is provided by Mongo, the database, and underscore underscore version, again provided by Mongo. And it is the Mongo database that belongs to our warehouse. And if you send this event to the shop and try to put the whole thing into the shop database, the shop database complains about, no. This ID here, you are not going to tell me the idea that this thing gets, because this is my thing that I am thinking about. And there's semantics in this idea, in this ID, and no, I do not accept it. You get a very strange error message, something like immutable attribute or something like that. And I was taking quite an hour to figure out what the problem was. So, and that then resulted in the shop to copy the important element from this message and get rid of underscore ID and underscore version in the products, in the handle product stored thing somewhere there, in the story event of that thing, of the shop. Okay. Yeah, okay. Still, it seems to work. Great. Cool. Oh, so cool. So I can actually send a subscription message to my warehouse, and I get all the events that were happening in between, hopefully. And this is ensured through this line of tests, or this test operation here. And so I would like to add another palette after I have subscribed the warehouse. And if I do so, this palette should come up at the warehouse because I did the subscription. I told my, excuse me, it's so much things, and I should have a slide for this actually. So I am telling the warehouse that the shop is listening. And so now if I do add another palette with some 24 red shoes, that one should be published and sent to the shop, and the shop should know about this. And this, now let's just rerun it. It's actually, yeah, that one is not that important. Let's have it here. And you should look to this one. It already says what it is, but I actually will rerun the thing. And therefore I go for, I make this a little bit smaller so that we can actually see what's happening down there. Get rid of this one here. And if I rerun this, look for that one. Here there was something, and here is something. And you see that the set compute new product amount is 42 red shoes. So we have 42 red shoes in our shop. Hey, this thing did work. Great stuff. Cool. And this is why I have all these terminals down here, because I actually need to see what's going up in the test, in the front end, in the warehouse backend, and in the shop backend, and have to see where all those console messages are going. And if you have all these services running in the same terminal window, you will be totally confused, and it works much better if your screen at home is a little bit larger than my screen here for the lecture, and then it's good. But actually, we need to put up the picture-in-picture to the top left. Yeah, thank you. And then you can actually see builder service compute new product amount. So this here tells you there are 42 red shoes in our shop now. Okay, so we are almost done. Subscribing is working, and it's answering with the set of events that I have missed, and from that time, so when I have subscribed, publishing works also for later messages. So these two things are the important things for today. And there's one more thing, and I did it in the app controller after all. Yeah. So when the shop is starting up when the shop backend is starting up, it should subscribe itself to the warehouse. So currently, this was being achieved by the test doing the subscription and telling the warehouse the shop is listening. And now we want that the shop is doing this himself. And this is the warehouse backend thing, so it won't work. Control P, app service in the micro shop. Yeah, here we are. So this is the micro shop backend app service. And that one should have, no, it's the app controller. Damn it. Yeah, but the thing I'm looking for is the app controller. So where I did the thing. And it's a micro shop and backend app controller. Here we are. There I have added an on module in it. So, and for some reason this was working. And to have an on module in it, you implement your app controller. And this is the app controller of the micro shop. Very important. The app controller of the micro shop needs to implement on module in it. Then you can have an on module in it method. And within this on module in it message, you do a subscription. So you do an HTTP service post. So therefore you need an HTTP service, which you get from Axios. You need to install Axios for the shop backend. We already did it for the warehouse backend. You run another npm minus. Do I need that?
No, this is the default.
Sorry? Do I need to install Axios again?
Yes.
For the? Yeah. I need a new npm install Axios, and then we have that one. The app module needs to import the HTTP module in order to be able to provide the HTTP service into your constructor. The same thing that we have had before. And I'm almost getting it. So then you can have an HTTP service.post and you do a subscribe. And you parse the subscription object, which is a subscriber URL. And again, I use last event time 0. If you still know the last event that you have got, then you do not need to do this. We could ask our database for, what is the last product stored event that we have got? And what was the time of that event? Then we ask only for the new events. That would be more smart, but for debugging purposes, to get it running, this one was easier. And we do again a subscribe. So because we need to actually handle the response. So this subscribe will actually send us the list of events that we have missed. Or, well, actually the list of all events that are known in our warehouse. So we are in the shop. So it's a little bit like this left-right thing. I'm telling warehouse and shop all the time, and I'm starting to confuse them myself. Oh my damn thing. Okay. So I have a response function and an error function, and the response function is asynchronously because I'm going to handle the events. And I get response data, which is a list of events. And then I do a loop over this list, and each of these events is just sent to app service handle event. Hey, cool. It's just the same way that a published event comes to myself. I just can go for that one. So we go, we do the same thing that the post event thing, app service handle event does. That's it. Cool. And I do an await here. That's not really necessary, but there was an error. And if you actually, I only get one currently in this test. If one of those is, if one or two of those are not working, they are throwing exceptions. And so I need to try catch. And if I do not have an event, I will probably await. Where is this await? If I do not have that await, those error messages are going to be mixed in some way. That's not a good idea. Therefore, I put this await here. I'm not sure whether Sebastian approves of that, but for debugging purposes, it was a little bit easier this way. He says it's fine. Okay. Okay, here we are. And actually, if I store this, look at this one, it's starting again. It's starting again. And then you see, oh yeah, shop backend is running on port 3100. And then it receives, the picture-in-picture is again on the wrong side. Thank you, great. Let's do it again. Chaka. So this is the window we are looking for. It restarts, and then it says shop backend is running. And then it says up service handle event. So it's actually, this comes from here. We actually could have this here. And then we see, oh yeah, sub service is running. Ooh, I'm sorry. This is so damn small. Shop backend is running on 3100. App controller on model init subscribe. App controller on model init subscribe list. Gets, and then there's another square bracket, so that's the list. And this is this Red Shoes 42 event. So it's the one thing that we have in our running example here. And so this subscribe sent me the old stuff, did work, and just on restart, our shop backend resynchronizes subscribes at the warehouse and synchronizes itself by receiving all the product stored events. And I love it. That's great. So this is a really good end for the year. I ask you to, is this actually, are we going to have a homework over Christmas? Oh, it's not over Christmas. The homework is over until Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the day before Christmas Eve. And so we actually will have it. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have it.
But next week is no lecture, right?
So it's this Thursday. So that's cool. And so, but then actually it's next week would be Monday. We could have a lecture.
The week before Christmas.
It's the week before Christmas, but we still could have a lecture. Damn it, I want to be. So you guys, who wants a lecture next week? Who would like to have Christmas break? Who wants to have a Christmas break? Anybody? Yeah, it's the majority. So we will have a Christmas break. Okay, it's fine for me. Just because we do not want to do homework the week before Christmas, I'm fine. You still need to do Christmas shopping. And so no, we will have me too. And so cool. Yeah, kind of. So we are pretty good in making a pretty good progress, and we have actually achieved a lot. And so it's fine for me. Let's do it. So because you are so good students and you are so fast, that's the reason why we will have Christmas break. And there is this, just to see where we are, we finally have done it. The product stored event has been sent to the Microshop. So cool. And actually, there's just the same scenario with another Red Shoes. We already did this too. And then there's blue jeans that is going to work either. So we actually have done all these. And after, in the new year, we are going to have a graphical user interface for our shop, where Sabine Sales is going to put prices on our products and put them into the shop. So that is going to come after in the new year. So you're done. It's great. Maximilian is going to put the details of this week's assignment in the Discord. We will see us on Thursday for the presentations of this week's work. And then you will have a very great Christmas, and I wish you all the good thing and a really good time with your families, and a lot of gifts and a valuable Feliz Navidad and these kinds of stuff, and a very good new year. And we will see again in the new year. And when do we go to meet again? I have no idea.
On the 10th January.
January the 10th. So in Hesse, it's actually in my country, my county, we are starting late because all the professors are going to go skiing the first week of January, and so we are starting the second week of January, and so we will be back.
As I see, actually, the last week before Christmas isn't even a lecture week. The lecture ends on Saturday, on the 18th December.
So we were not allowed to have a lecture next week. Oh, that's cool. And when does it start again?
On the 10th.
10th of January, Monday 10th of January, we will see again. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.